Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for these issues. So we're going to go through 4 issues today. I decided I was gonna cover some of the New Mutant or the New Mutants. Basically, since Chris Claremont had left, I quit covering them, and I decided I am gonna do them in uh, little bites. So instead of an issue at a time, so we're gonna do New Mutants 55 through 58. So that's 4 issues that covers everything up until Follow the Mutants. Then we're going to do Follow the Mutants as one video. That's 3 issues, but one of them is double sized. And then we will do the next 4 issues or so and kind of get us caught up as to what's been going on in the New Mutants. Louise Simonson is the writer, and Bret Blevins is the penciler. And the problem with New Mutants was, so after Chris Claremont left, a lot of people jumped off, including me. So the problem with New Mutants isn't Bret Blevins; it's that Bret Blevins doesn't fit New Mutants, and you can see here he's sort of like Richard Corbin. Um, so I'm gonna say ugly in a nice way, not in a bad way. So because his art isn't terrible art, but the way he draws people is like Richard Corbin, who's one of my favorite. Richard Corbin is one of the top 100, and Bret Blevins I think is very similar to that. I think Bret Blevins would have done better at say something like Ghost Rider or Moon Knight or Punisher or Doctor Strange. In Marvel, Doctor Fate and the Swamp things like that. But teenaged superheroes, not quite so much here. So Brett Blevins will be the penciler on 3 of the 4 issues. There will be, I think, June Bringman will do one guest issue. But so here we go. So I'm gonna sort of narrate for you more so than I am going to uh, read it at you, because 4 issues, we're going to try and get this done quickly here. So he's flying around saying they stink, all of them stink. And so we got Flying Wild, and so this is going to be Orzakowski stuck around, and Orzakowski not only does he word a lot of words with Chris Claremont, he's got a lot of words with Louise Simonson. Louise Simonson during this time is doing X Factor, and I think is also doing the Power Pack. So and then Louise Simonson stays all the way in the book until her and Rob Liefeld just couldn't take it anymore. So, all right. And so what he's doing is he's looking through his clothes because they have a party that they've been invited to. And this he's looking for something to wear. This party is for his girlfriend Leela, and he doesn't feel like because he's from Kentucky and she's sort of like an intergalactic thief, so he doesn't think that that I don't know that would be something she would care for. So he wants to make an impression. Again, this is what I mean about the faces. It just doesn't work on New Mutants. And but this is where they put him, so it's not his fault. And so he's desperate. He wants to know what he's gonna wear. The girls are going through the same thing. At least Ileana and Danny are, but Rain, being more conservative, isn't up to kind of that. And she's like, hey, you guys have tried this like 5 times. And so Danny continues. This is going to lead to the next story here. They're listening to the radio here, the tape deck. I don't know. I forgot what these things were called, but they're from my era. Anyway, about a bird creature, a bird boy that is in a Governor's Island quarantine in Manhattan. So All right, and she's like, hey, maybe he's a mutant, and um, Warlock and Sunspot are still not with the team. They're in the Fallen Angels miniseries, which is kind of funny because I finished Claremont's term because there was a issue called New Mutants Forever, which takes place between 54 and 55, but it is completely out of continuity. It is just um, so I don't know, but anyway, then he says, "Hey, that's a problem for another day. We got to get ready for this party." And you can see the girls are absolutely loving this. And they're trying to think of what to do with her. You can see that she's like, I mean, the expressions from Bret Blevins are great. Again, Bret Blevins is a great artist, just doesn't work with New Mutants. I don't believe he does. So anyway, they're like, well, you've got the hair portion. We just gotta find it. And she's like, but what if I need to turn into a wolf? And they're like, this is a party. You'll be fine. And so Danny uses her mental powers to kind of pluck what she'd like, and this is the kind of dress that she'd like, kind of like Cinderella. And she's like, oh, all that kind of stuff. And so Ileana uses one of the stepping discs to allow her to teleport, and she comes back with a dress, and you can see Wolfsbane is very happy with it here. And so they talk a little bit about having to teleport through limbo and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Ileana's like, hey, it is what it is. So, all right. And so she's like, well, if we're going to argue about this dress, if you don't want it, I'll take it. And of course, Danny's like, don't do that. And so asks her to try it on. Outside, Doug Ramsey, Cypher, is talking with Cannonball. This is how he's sort of dressed. And so there's a Rolls Royce limousine coming to get them. He tells the girls that they're ready, but he's still awkward and nervous, so he ends up hitting the wall. They come through. Again, good characters, good stuff. Um, but when I was I don't know, it didn't speak to me as a uh what would have I been? Seventh grader? So anyway, so Doug sees Rain and he's like, oh, so pretty. And so Magneto is here, and I said Magneto, not Magneto, because it's magnet with an O. Stanley mispronounced it because it's not magnetic, it's a magnet. So Magneto, and so he tells the kids be back by 1 in the morning and behave. He's kind of shocked at Cannonball looking all punk. So they're on their way to in Manhattan, and they're going through Governor's Island, which of course, I guess it's supposed to be this, but of course, Governor's Island is nowhere near the Statue of Liberty. But hey, um, and he should know that these people lived in New York. Anyway, so Rain is like, "Hey, isn't that bird creature is?" And they're like, "Hey, we'll look at it the next day because we're gonna party tonight. What could happen?" And of course, we get a glimpse of Bird Boy right here. And so they arrive here, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they're in a limousine. Are they in a movie? Are they movie stars? Oh, I think we saw them." And of course, they have um, tickets, and so they go through. And so they're like, Lita was supposed to be here. I wonder where she is. And she's arguing with this guy. And we'll see. He's making trouble for her. He kind of wants to date her, but it's ulterior motive. That he doesn't really want to date her, but he's trying to get with her, and we'll see why toward the end here. So she leaves him and goes to see Sam, and is even shocked that he's got like an earring on. Gives him a kiss, and they're gonna go to the dance floor. Remember, Leela Cheney is, and by the way, I have a playlist where I started with New Mutants #1. Actually, the before New Mutants #1. So feel free to check that out with the graphic novel here. So these two, neither one knows how to dance, so they're gonna go get some grub. And so here's Sam and Leela, and she's wondering what they're saying because they're speaking in an alien tongue. And Doug's like, we shouldn't be snooping, and she's like, hey, I want to know what they're saying. And so you can see here again, good cartooning, good stuff, just unappreciative in seventh grade by me. Looking back, I think it's actually a wonderful thing. But a lot of people were jumping off. I was one of those, so it is what it is. So there, of course, he can only understand a few phrases. So he's like, Sam thinks he wants Leela and is jealous of Sam, so they're gonna go upstairs and get some more, or sit down to eat. And so he says here that they have 24 hours to get the jewel before they're destroyed. Leela's our last hope. And so start phase one, and you can see this little doohickey here, like a marble. And so they're dancing. He's got the marbles here, kind of tosses them. Sam slips, and he lands on everybody here. Leela kind of smiles, and he's like, I think I need a drink. And of course they go to phase two, but they're giving him liquor, and Sam doesn't want the liquor. And so instead, this guy, she won't, he's like, he won't take it. So he goes and says, hey, someone like Leela's is impressed with sophisticated guys. You got to show her a good time. You look mopey. Here, have some of these. So he takes these drugs. So he won't drink, but he'll take some drugs here. And they're showing this other guy kind of dancing with her. So of course Sam is going to take the drugs, which are going to, he thinks like she would be mad at him because because he had fallen, but now she looks all weird. And so they're gonna take him, and then this one is tries to hit on her, but I like the color holds, by the way, in the back. And so she goes, where's Sam? Because they were taking him out, and everybody's kind of smiling because their plan's going through. Of course, rain season. She's like, come on, Doug, let's go get him. Off here we go. And so they all fly like with these things. They're kind of like butterflies kind of things. So, and then they got rockets from, I don't know, somewhere. So Sam kind of comes to and rockets away, but they're gonna go after him. They got these phasers, and he's drugged up, and so he hits this one, and so they are gonna go down. But he starts. So now they're at Liberty Island, and so he's trying to run away, and this guy's like, there's more than meets the eye here. So he thinks he would have liked Sam, but he's got things to do. So all right, so they're gonna go get the rest of the New Mutants. They're like, hey, someone took Sam. They see them chasing him and crash into here, so they teleport through, and now they're in a garbage barge, which, by the way, I think they dumped these in the ocean. I don't know. It was just terrible. I don't know back then. And of course, she's going to try to rescue Sam. So of course, she does get into the wolf form and rips through the dress, lands on this guy. Doug throws garbage at him and hits him, and she shoots him but hits him in the back. And of course, Ileana is like, ah. So she takes his and zaps her. Sam hits him, and this is what he wants. And they're like, why is he afraid of a lollipop? And of course it isn't. And Leela shows up and says it's the jewels of Ikerno, I don't know. And she's like, hey, they're set to be destroyed, and he wants me to steal them. And he's like, man, I should have given him something stronger, be rid of him. And so Ileana wants to kill him. They're like, "Hey, we don't kill." That was in the previous She's happy with Sam, and so Ileana's gonna send them to Limbo as their punishment. And so anyway, they destroyed the dress. She feels bad, so Danny's gonna give her her sweater. And so look at Doug. Doug's got the hots for her. And so they teleport again, and we end this issue. Next, New Mutants versus Hellions in a search for a Bird Boy scavenger hunt. So love that Tom Mazakowski stayed. So and so number 56 here, great cover by Kevin Nolan. Um, God, he is. I love Kevin Nolan. He is fantastic. He did issue 51 of this series. So we're at Xavier's school. They're having breakfast, listening to the news, and this. Here is Magma, who did not go to the party. We've got Sam, who's not feeling very well after that party. And they're talking kind of girl stuff here. And they're like, "What's your idea of cute?" Turns out that it's empath here. And so we've got our title, Scavenger Hunt. And they're like, "Oh, he's a hellion, he's evil, one of the bad guys." And so same well, this is June Brinkman, of course, doing the guest, but then he'll be back then for the next run. Tom Orzechowski is the letterer, but there are some areas that I think had to get relettered and somebody else did it. Orzechowski, again, deserves every award there is. She goes, "It's rude that you got that image of empath from my head." They're like, "No, it wasn't meant like that." So, anyway, so they're thinking she's acting like that because there's a lack of boys, because Warlock and Sunspot are with the Fallen Angels. They will be back. It's a 8-issue limited series. It's written by Joe Duffy, but it's not something that we are going to be covering ever. So she's reading the letters from her father, and then she realizes she does have a crush on Empath, and then she's like, "No," but she does. All right. Meanwhile, at the Hellfire Club, here are the Hellions, and they're kind of talky, and they're like, "Oh man, I wish we would have gone to the premiere of Leela Cheney. I can't believe she's dating that loser Cannonball, because Empath is a jerk." And then they're like, "There's prettier girls in at Xavier's that wouldn't even look at him," and of course Roulette's like, "Who?" And she's like, "Well, not the blonde witch," meaning Magic, or the skinny one, meaning Danny, or the baby, meaning Rain. And so that leaves the stuck up, which would be Magma. And of course, that he doesn't like her. She's like, "No, you like her." And then oh my goodness, Warpath, the future Warpath. I think he's just Thunderbird now. Like he took his brother's name. But here's then they were showing Cannonball from the previous night when he hit that building. It's actually where the bird creature was, and they're like, "Hey, if the New Mutants want him, then we do too." And so here is the White Queen, and so they kind of tell her, and then she wants to talk to Empath here. And so she says, "I laid the a bait for the New Mutants, and he wants one of the New Mutants, and so we'll see at the end here." And so she says, "Don't fail me." And so um so now they see that they freed that creature, and they decide, well, they're trying to capture it, and they're like, this is the part that I said Orzechowski did not. I think this got relettered. And so, all right, so they're gonna help the bird creature. So now they are all going, and they ask Magma to come, and so she's gonna go, and they don't want to be going in these uniforms. So they're gonna be changing. This is an excuse, and this is the last time I think we see the New Mutants wear these. And so here go the Hellions. They're using distraction here with roulette to get this butler, and so off they go. And of course, roulette and empath kind of have a thing, and um, oh my god, Thunderbird is like I said, cut that out. And so roulette uses her power to, or not roulette, Tarot uses her power and brings this angel thing out. So Tarot, not I kept saying roulette. I'm sorry. Anyway, so the New Mutant, this is the same uniforms, costumes, sorry, that they wore in X-Men Annual 10 that Arthur Adams had done. And so we are going to have basically a confrontation. They're going to try to capture Bird Boy, and so that is kind of what they're going to do. And so we're going to see the Hellions do that. So we are just sort of going to skip, all the all that stuff. So he's hungry. He's trying to get food. He wants some fish. And so here come the Hellions. And we'll just kind of keep going. So they're going to try and distract half of them so that Cannonball can get them. They're each just going to try to do things. But all right. Again, nothing much here. Just there is a lot of action here. Liefeld said that Louise Simonson didn't write a lot of action, and that's not necessarily true. She just didn't write the action that he wanted. So they grab some fish, and so they're gonna get a bait here. Cannonball tackles Jetstream, and she's trying to get him, but nope, Hellions don't let her. And so they destroy the tarot card, so all that stuff disappears here. Empath grab her, and here's Magma. She says, let him go, and so he does, and that's, I don't think he lettered this either, and so they do. And she grabs Danny, and then Wolfsbane's gonna go rescue her. And we're gonna get the bird creature here soon because that's the whole point of the story. Sam tackles him midair. They land here, and then they disappear right into the danger room. They're gonna find some sceneries to see if they can keep him, and he likes the tropical one, and so that's where he's at. And so here you can see Magma here, and she says, I'm leaving the New Mutants and am going to go to the Massachusetts Academy. So she's going to be one of the Hellions. So, all right, 2 issues to go after, with including this one, number 57. And yeah. So the New Mutants don't want to do Danger Room, and they're like, hey, we've got our powers all trained, we got to train for midterms. Magneto's like, we need to hone your body as well, good mind, good body. And he's like, hey, Danny, if you're so good, project an image of what I want most. And she says, us in a danger room. He's like, right, so hop to it. And sees this, doesn't know that the bird creature is in there, so he turns it off, which of course freaks out the bird, and he goes, Birds of a Feather is the title here. And they're like, oh crud, I can't believe he did that, with the credits here. By the way, I should have said it on 55, but Terry Austin has returned, and that is so good. Terry Austin is an incredible inker, and it's just it's good to have almost everybody here again. I like Bret Blevins now. but seventh grade me just couldn't appreciate it. So, all right. So they're going to go. You can see they create the stepping disc here. They're going to go and try to get him. Here's all this food that she's projecting. He gets in there. Sam tries to catch him, but kind of misses him because he's also pretty fast. Finally, they catch him, and it turns they're like he just wants food. She gets a refrigerator. He just keeps eating. Cypher's really jealous of him because Rain is like with the attention. And I guess I was wrong about the uniform, but the costumes are coming back. So you can see Bird Brain, he just keeps eating, and look at him. You know, now I appreciate this art. Then I did not. And again, I still think Bret Blevins would have been better somewhere else. But I just don't think he meshed really well with what New Mutants is supposed to be. So they're like, hey, check, put Cerebro on him, and Magneto says, hey, Cerebro's not working. That's, of course, because it was destroyed by Sabretooth and X-Men 213. I also have an X-Men playlist. He's like, he's human. Maybe he is a mutant, but we don't know. We can't tell. And so he says, go to your homework. And you see Rain holding his hand. He's still eating. And so look at Cypher, just so upset. You know, even Batman, I think Bret Blevins would have been good at, because it's moody and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. And so we'll see at the end what's up here. But again, Cypher just is so erg. He thinks he's trying to get the bugs here. So, all right. And so we're going to kind of move on. You can see Cypher is just really jealous. And so the only thing he understands is food, which is true, but we'll see why. But they're convinced that he is a person. So they're going to try and do stuff with him. But before then, as we saw in the last issue, this is Magma's last hurrah with the New Mutants here. I think Simonson did not want her, most likely. Did not go in with the plans that she had, at least. And so we basically write her off. The New Mutants are like, ugh. And they're like, you understand, right? Don't you? And of course they do. And they all hug her. And the White Queen's like, hey, she works better in our school anyway. So, all right. And so she's like, all right, and all that. And they're like, maybe she'll come back. And then they're like, nah, no, she won't. So Magneto's not taking it very well. So they're gonna go look at Birdbrain. Rain is insistent that he is human, so they are going to go and dress him up as a human. And the rest, I am just sort of gonna skip through. They go to the mall food court. He's just trying to eat everything, and we'll see here, that it just is not working very well. And here we go. They're gonna go to a movie theater now, and that doesn't work too. You can see that there's an ad for food, and he's like, oh my god. So we'll see what he is at the end here. So we're just gonna get him. Eventually they're gonna teleport him back. Magneto is incredibly angry about everything that's happening here. One thing Blevins does do very well is show expressions. And so they're like, we need to send him back. And Rain's like, we can't. They're gonna just stick him in a cage. And Doug says he's not human. And they're like, I've tried talking to him. And then he's like, oh, not really. All right, so let me talk to him. And he's like, squawk, Dr. Squeak, I see nothing. And then he speaks back, and then next thing you know, they become best buds because they understand each other. And so here we go. He says people made him and trained him by starving him. Good to him means food, and bad means no food. So that's why he kept trying to eat. And he says, well, he was jealous, and she's like, no, that's not it. And he's like, um, they're like, hey, you wanted more boys in the New Mutants. He's the boy. And so a bird in hand. So we were going to get to our last issue here that we are going to be covering. So 58 is the issue that will lead into the fall of the mutants, which will be the next video. And here it's a lot of learning about bird brain, which I think is what he is going to end up being called. Um, Good cover. So they're trying to teach him out. Most of this issue really deals with the kids studying for exams, because in the previous issue, Magneto grounded them, so and they won't be ungrounded till they pass the finals. So a bird in hand. And so Bret Blevins apparently has help, but we don't know what the help is. But most of the issue looks like it was touched by him. So, all right. And so they're teaching him stuff. And uh, so really, not Ileana, Doug and Rain are the two that are just constantly helping him, trying to learn words and anything like that. Food is like, remember, food is how, they're like hair and this and that, bubble, foot. And so he pops this, and Leona's just annoyed. And you can see Rain continues. Can you say teleport? So, they'll continue, and most of this issue, believe it or not, is sort of like this. He sees the moon, and it will turn out, I guess, that um it's thinks of the moon. It's where some place here, but he associates the moon with the place that he lives, and so he's trying to talk here to Big Bird, and so the he's got a thing with animals too, because there's other animals in there. So, and we're gonna get into at the end of this, which is what Fall of the Mutants for the New Mutants is gonna be. So, and so Ileana gets a hamburger here and is going to teach him how to speak using the hamburger, which is ingenious. So you can see burger and stuff like that. So fry. So he eventually does understand, and you can see Rain is extremely happy that Ileana went and did that here. So, all right. So they're trying to find where he comes from. It turns out it will be in the North Atlantic, near Greenland. And so here we go. And really, you can see here, there's really not a lot in the action department here. Louise Simonson and Chris Claremont are two birds of a feather. So here we go. They take him again to get food, and then they teleport back to avoid getting seen. Here they're watching a show, and one of the things I do like is that they show them kind of being kind of like a family. So that's really kind of cool here. Sees the guy hit that line with a whip, and of course they are going crazy. Sees the moon. Turns out that before I get, sorry, I was skipping ahead. So they give him a uniform here as a member of the team. So, and really, you get used to Bret Blevins, but I think the thing was that he's just so different from everyone else. Again, he's a terrific artist. That this was not his fault. Here's Doug kind of sleeping on a mattress, letting him have the bed, and so he's going to go out. It's apparently like some kind of nesting time, so he goes to go get some burgers, and so they give him some orders, and off he goes here. So they see him here. They end up tackling him with all this food, and it will be turning out that he is trying to take this food to all the animals that were in there, that are in this island in the North Pacific. and that they're going to starve. He's trying to bring them food. So they are going to go there, and Rain is like, we have to go, and Eliana says, well, yeah, let's do that, but I just want to make sure, because Rain is sort of not a rule breaker. So, all right, and so they arrive here to this island, and here's the last page here, and they arrive, and they're of course being watched with all these animal creatures here that have been humanized here. And so this will lead, like I said, to Follow the Mutants. And so the next, we will do the next 3 issues on a separate video. So Fang and Claw will be next. So New Mutants 55, 56, 57, and 58. By Louise Simonson, Bret Blevins, and Terry Austin, minus 1 issue, which was by June Brigman. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to keep this short, four videos in 35 minutes. That's not too bad. So like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.